Alright, welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about Drupal 8 SEO. First, a small introduction, a little about myself. I am the CEO of Entity One. It's a Drupal agency in Ghent. For those who were here in the last session, those were two colleagues of mine. I'm also an author of Drupal books. I wrote Kickstart Drupal 7 and Handboek Drupal 8, both Dutch books about Drupal. Handboek Drupal 8 will be in stores at the end of the month, starting next month. It's a beginner book for everyone who wants to get into Drupal 8. I'm involved in several very small-scale startups, more as a hobby. And I'm also the co-founder of Duck, and you can see at the red shirt, a co-organizer of Drupal Camp here today. Before we begin, we are going to talk about Google. Search engines and Google are practically one and the same in Belgium. It has a market share of 93%. So I will use the terms interchangeably, but most of what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, is also, of course, true for Yahoo, Bing, and other search engines. But I'll be using Google as a reference point or as an example. So Belgium, these are numbers from 2015, 93%. Other countries, that's a bit different. USA, for example, is 66% Google, and then the second big one is Yahoo, which is not the case in Belgium, of course. First of all, Google's primary focus is to display the most relevant information to its users. So it's not built or designed to show the best built website, or the nicest looking website, or the website with the most links, or the website with the most text. A lot of SEO articles and information talks about that, and they're not wrong per se. It all has its merits, but you must always keep in mind Google wants to display the most relevant results for the keywords the users typed in. That's why, it's already a cliche, but it's still true, content is king. Create your website, build your website to serve your users. Do not build your website to serve Google. Google tries to serve its users as well, so if you do your best to try to serve your users, your SEO will go a lot smoother and will also be a lot more future-proof. Now, for the real session, we're going to talk about the modules, the main modules available in Drupal 8 for SEO. Most of them are pretty much the same as Drupal 7, but the interface has changed a lot. Most modules, most SEO modules, the interface, the configuration has changed a lot. Not the result, not the purpose, but the interface changed quite a bit. Let's start with Path and Path Auto. The intention is to change the not user-friendly URLs, such as node/1, node/2, etc., to human-readable and search engine-friendly URLs. Path is, just like in Drupal 7, part of core. It's automatically installed if you use the standard installation profile and doesn't really require much settings. When you edit a node, you will see a path box and you can insert a user-friendly path. The only real difference here with Drupal 7 is you have to start with a slash, which I still forget on a daily basis. But you get an error message and then you add the slash there. It's very important in keywords that you use your keywords in the URL, because Google reads from left to right, starting with your domain name, going through the URL or the page of or the page part of the URL. So googling Kickstart Drupal 7, it will pick up, for example, bol.com, because it's pretty close. One of the reasons, of course, one of the many reasons, but it's pretty close to the left of the URL. That's why they put the ID here at the end. They don't use Drupal yet. there's a big configuration change in Drupal 8 on how you install or configure, a big user interface change in how you configure Path Auto in Drupal 8. Where we used to have a big list, so I'm going to show you, where we used to have a big list of all content types. When we go to patterns, we used to have a big list of all content types in all languages, all taxonomy, vocabularies, etc. And then you could insert your paths, your tokens, your patterns in there. Now we have an interface here with add a Path Auto pattern. These patterns can be created for every content entity type in your website. So this is a default Drupal 8 installation. We have content, taxonomy terms, and users. When you create one, you get some options here for what content types, or if you choose taxonomy terms, for what vocabularies does this need to be active. If you select none, then it will be applied to all. So this is future-proof. If you create new vocabularies, this will also apply to the new vocabularies. If you check them, it will not apply to the future or the new vocabularies. Okay. I will edit here this one, the articles that I prepared. Just like in Drupal 7, it uses tokens, so it has replacement patterns. This is a fixed part / news /, and then with the square brackets, it will replace the node title here. Which tokens are available? You can find here in the token browser. For example, node. Here you get all your fields, the languages, etc. Dates, current date, all things like that. You can enable or disable your patterns. One very important part, which is new in Drupal 8 or the Drupal 8 version of Path Auto, is the order of these items. These matter. You can add multiple patterns, and the first one that matches the URL will be generated from. So for example here I have two patterns, both are for content. This one is only for the bundle, for the content type article. This one is for all content types. So here we have news / node title, here we have content type / node title. If I create a new basic page, with some text, the URL is basic page / basic page. Well, this is the title and this is the content type here. If I do the same for an article, that's for later. It's not article, but it's news because the first pattern was matched. If you change the order, I'm going to change the order here, flush the cache, I create a new article, now it's not news, but it's article. So it found the first match, used that pattern, created the URL, and goes further, and then stops. If it doesn't find a match, it goes to the last one. If there is no match at all, then it will just stay node / node ID. Right, so very important, this is new in Drupal 8, to keep this order correct. One thing I tend to do in new installations is this catch-all pattern at the bottom with the content type or just the title to have clean URLs from the start. Okay. Second module is the meta tag module. One we had to wait a long time for in Drupal 7. This time, luckily, it was a lot faster with the release of Drupal 8. There were some bugs to start with in the meta tag module, but it's pretty stable right now. It helps with all meta tags and related settings here. It also uses tokens, just like Path Auto does. It allows page-by-page configuration, but, and this is very powerful, it also allows a hierarchical structure of defaults. If you have a lot of content, if a lot of content is user-generated or imported or whatever, it can be a real challenge to do page-by-page descriptions and optimization, not keywords, titles, etc. We can create a hierarchy here. There are several sub-modules available, so you need at least the meta tag module. It's all in the same download. But you can also add for Google+, Open Graph mainly used for Facebook and Pinterest, but there are other social media or applications that use Open Graph as well, or read from Open Graphs. Twitter cards, of course, for Twitter, and verification helps you with the verification of ownership to search engines. First, I'm going to show the hierarchy, how this works, because this can be a challenge. So, if you go to meta tag, first you see the global configuration. These are the main defaults for every page on your website. If there are no specifics overridden, this will be what the user sees, or what the user gets. For example, here I've used as page title the current page title, pipe, and the site name. These are these tokens again. And a fixed description, Drupal 8 SEO demonstration website. And now on every page, unless overridden, you will get this description. Clear on the board or on the projector. So I get this description on every page unless some other overriding is done. There are a lot, and I mean a lot of options available, especially if you enable all these modules. It's a bit up to you what you want to use. I'm going to highlight some here which are important or not important. First of all, of course, page title and description together with your URL, with your path. These are the three most important meta tags you can add. Keywords, most of you know, is totally useless now. It's been like that for years. It's completely ignored by Google and most other search engines because of the abuse. Here in the advanced type, you can find some more about geographics. One interesting here is the canonical URL. If you have multiple URLs going to the same page, to the same node, it's important to have a canonical URL, or Google will think you're trying to spam them, to do search engine spamming. Canonical URL will tell Google this is the base or the one and only original URL, even if it's another alias, and it will not punish you for search engine spamming. So this is an important one to add. I'm not going to go over all of them, but for example, the image, very important for sharing purposes. This is something that will be often picked up. In Open Graph, you have a very similar one. Usually use the same token. Here, image URL, and if available, an image secure URL. Why is this important? If the place where you are sharing to is HTTPS and your page, your website is not, some browsers give warning, do you want to load insecure content on this page? And of course, try to avoid that. You can, if you want, give an image type, image width and image height as well. These can all be found in tokens. So that's a very important one. Google Plus is not that popular, but it's very interesting to use a author. If you have a blog, if you add a URL to the author, a Google Plus account of the authors, it will be picked up in the sidebar, or sometimes you can get a picture, and this will make your search results more visible. It will stand out between other search results, and you have a higher click rate. Twitter cards, for a lot can be done these days with Twitter. If Twitter is an important platform for you, you can do some cool stuff here. For example, I don't know if it's already in the Drupal module, but I saw an example the other day where you can buy directly from a Twitter message. A Twitter message about the product, and you can buy directly from the Twitter message. That's built with Drupal, with Twitter cards. Haven't tried this in Drupal yet. Facebook is a different topic here. Most of what you need day to day for Facebook you can find in Open Graph. Here specifically it is ad for if you have an application, if you want to connect an application with Facebook, you can add the ID here. It can be necessary for verification, for ownership, things like that. Alright. And then you have some options in site verification. Here you can find what you need to add to have Google recognize you as the owner. Why do you want to be verified by a search engine? Because you get access to extra tools. For example, Google Webmaster Tools is only available to you if you verify that you are the owner of the website. Very useful information is shown there. For example, if certain pages are no longer found, it also notifies you if your site got infected some way. I hope you never have that, but for example, the Drupal Geddon bug 7.31 and older, you could have your site infected. Well, Webmaster Tools notified you which sites were infected, and it was easier and faster to solve that way. So it is very interesting to have your site verified, in Belgium at least with Google. So these are a lot of options, and here in the global you can set the global defaults. All the others start from that global, and then you can override them. For example, the front page, you can edit. If you leave the boxes empty, it will use whatever you have configured in global. If you set different text, different tokens here, it will use these ones. But the options are the same. Default only content is available, but you can add new default meta tags. And then you can say, for basic page for example, I want other information. For example, I do not want that fixed description. I want a specific field. I made an example, so I added on the content type article a new field, a simple text field, text plain long, called it meta description, so that's just configuration from my side. And then in the manage display I said disable, do not show it. Right, so I've added a field to the content type, meta description. When you create content, so article with description, I can put the description here, and then this will be used as the description. Description here. Right? So back to the settings. Back to the settings, what did I do? In description, I placed a token referencing that field. Okay? And this can you do for every field. For example, if you have a specific Facebook image you want to add on of that content type, you can use the token in the OG image field and have that used all the time. And this is a very user-friendly and low-maintenance way to have very good SEO on a lot of pages with these defaults, with these reusable items, with these tokens. And you can override practically everything in Drupal. The only thing not available yet, they're working on it, is views. So views integration is still under development. It's in needs review, so cross your fingers, it will be finished soon. There are some patches you can test if you want to. There are of course workarounds, you can use view as a block on a node, etc. But also watch out, the current recommended version 8.x beta 10 breaks Drush. Very annoying. The dev version is fixed, so in beta 11 it won't be an issue anymore, but it was a head scratcher. Right now, only the settings can be changed here, or in my configuration, for all articles at once. If I want to customize all these settings on a content, on a node-by-node basis, it's not as feasible. It's not feasible to add all fields here and then use tokens like I did for the description. You can do that for a few fields. What you have to do then, and I saw that in the latest version, at least for nodes, it happened automatically. You have to add a special field of a special type, the meta text type. If you add a field of type meta tags, then when you create content or edit content, you will get all the meta tags here in the sidebar, in the vertical tabs. So it's the same page basically as the configuration, the overall configuration. And here you can fill them in and override all the settings. But you get everything. This is not so user-friendly for a webmaster or a content editor that's not used to working a lot in websites and just needs to change the description and the picture, for example. Then I prefer the approach I demonstrated here on the left side. But of course, it's up to you. But these are the two options to have a node-by-node configuration of your SEO, of your meta. This follows all the other settings, of course, in Drupal, like multilingual, and everything you need can be used here as well, of course. Then we have XML Sitemap. An XML Sitemap is a sitemap in XML format. It will generate the XML. It will be automatically be found by Google and other search engines, and it's better or easier to index your website this way. Now it has some really funky configuration in Drupal 8. After you install it, you can go to search and meta. Here you have the XML sitemap. First thing you have to do is go to sitemap entities and here choose what configuration content types you want to see in your XML sitemap. Default, nothing is checked. So you need to choose all the options here. And even if you say I'm choosing content and then article, the default configuration is excluded. So you say I want to add my article to my XML sitemap. No, it's not done yet, it's still default excluded. So very weird defaults. You can change it, of course, to include it, have a default priority, a default change frequency, and it will be saved correctly. But you have to do it. Also, a very weird setting here in settings, advanced settings. You have to make sure your default base URL is configured correctly. Standard is just default, so HTTP :/ default, and the entire sitemap will have the correct last part of the URL, but your domain name will all be default, which is pretty useless, of course. Something that is easily detectable by the module, so I hope they'll change that in the near future for new installations. It's important you set this correctly. As soon as you have some settings or installed, you will also get a warning or an error that something is horribly wrong with your website. It's just a warning that it hasn't generated an XML sitemap yet. It's a big warning, but all you have to do is run cron. As soon as cron has been run, the warning is gone and the XML sitemap is generated. A very useful overview here is in settings. Also a weird place to put it. Here at the bottom, content, you can see what is included. It's more a report, how many pages have been added, how many URLs have been added to the XML sitemap. You can of course test the sitemap by going to sitemap.xml. And now we have all our pages. Cron hasn't run yet since I started, so if I run cron, well, yeah, rebuilt because there's a timeout. Yeah, okay. Now we have more. See, the items we made today, the content we made today, is now added as well to the sitemap. So, very useful module, very good module, but weird defaults, weird configuration when you install it. Especially this one, I really took me a long time to figure out this default base URL. Global redirect from Drupal 7 is no longer needed. The main module functionality has been merged in the redirect module. What was so important about the global redirect module? Well, when you create a new node, several URLs are generated. So for example, node/1, node/1/ is also a valid path, what Google concerned. And then of course your friendly URL, your friendly URL dash, etc. A lot of valid URLs are generated. Here we have the same problem again with the search engine spamming. If Google finds out these 4 URLs, it thinks you just duplicated the same page 4 times in hopes to get better search results. Google doesn't care you're using Drupal, and that's default Drupal behavior. So redirect, and in Drupal 7 global redirect, this will automatically all redirect to one URL, this one, automatically. So using the canonical URL or the global redirect, one or both are fine to use, but use at least one of these to prevent the spamming. The redirect module also has a very nice feature. If there are pages not found, I'm going to reload a few times, and you go to the top pages not found errors, you can click fix 4 or 4 pages with URL redirects, and you can automatically add a redirect. Everything is filled in correctly, you just put the new destination in there, and then redirect is added. Especially when you've upgraded an old site, you can see which old links are still popular this way, add redirects to them, and avoid penalty or losing the index. Then a special one, Yoast SEO. This doesn't add any functionality to the website, but helps with what you need to write on the website. It's both based on yoast.js. Just going to enable it. I'm also using Acquia Dev Desktop, just like my colleagues, because I'm one of the last Windows web developers. I also need a Ubuntu environment to be able to use any useful commands these days. So now, when I edit or add content, I get this information. You can input a keyword here. This page needs to be about beer, and then it will create content analysis and give you hints and tips and tricks on how you can better. For example, the focus keyword beer does not appear in the page title. Okay, that's fixed. It's now green. The focus keyword does not appear in the first paragraph of the copy. Right? This is how we do SEO. All fine. No. It gives you a lot of helpful hints, tips and tricks based on best practices. If you're not a marketeer or not an SEO specialist, it helps you along a great deal. Of course, this is not the end all and will give you all the latest features, etc. But it's a lot better than nothing. It's really nice help for your content editors, for yourself if it's your own website. A lot of tips and tricks you can use here. There's also a bit of commercial, around here. So, and of course, I'm not going to demonstrate this one, but it's not really SEO, Google Analytics, but if you do not measure what you are doing, you won't be able to change the SEO or improve the SEO. The Google Analytics module is available for Drupal 8 and is very good. It has a lot of options, more than I ever used until this point. But it's all there, everything you need. You can use caching, you can choose to always load the JS file, you can have it follow the non-follow option if the users have selected that in the browser. It's a very good module, very sturdy module. It also comes with good defaults. If you just add your key or your JS to your theme, for example, you won't get that. So I strongly advise to use the Google Analytics module. For example, do not track on these pages. Do not track the edit page of notes. Do not track the edit page of users. Do not track the admin pages. That's all useless information for your traffic. These were the main modules. There are more, of course, in Drupal 8, but these are the main modules to get you started with a demonstration how to use them. So what's the difference in Drupal 7? I just want to add some closing thoughts. Mobile Geddon, I hope most of you have heard about it by now. It's already from April 21st, 2015. But it was a very big change in Google's algorithm and really shows the focus of Google to go for mobile first. If your site is not responsive or does not have a mobile version, it will rank significantly lower on mobile devices. It does not affect the results on desktops. A lot of people thought it affected all results. No, it's only on the mobile devices. You also get that tag user-friendly or mobile-friendly website in the search results. So I hope I don't have to tell it to you, but it's a good way to convince your customers to go for a full responsive website, no matter the cost. Speed matters. This is also not directly Drupal related, but speed matters to the users, so it also matters to Google. There are some tools you can use to test this page speed. Always read the description. Some things you won't be able to change in Drupal, but there are also very minor. But if you have one warning, you lose a lot of points in this tool. Just read the description, try to optimize as much as possible. But in Drupal you won't be able to get 100% on this tool. But google.com, if you add google.com here, it also doesn't get 100% of the points, so don't worry about that. But at least make sure you enable the compression and the page cache, of course. Security. Google wants to boost the safety of the web, and it's a tiny boost, but it gives a boost to if you use HTTPS on your website. It used to slow down your website, HTTPS, but that's not anymore the case. And since Let's Encrypt, it's a really easy way to use SSL on your website. You don't need to buy certificates. It's not a complicated installation. Most control panels of hosting just have a button, use Let's Encrypt. Drupal 8 is completely compatible with HTTPS, and you can just enable that. The only downside of Let's Encrypt is it's not a signed one. So what's the difference when you go, for example, to my favorite website? Then you see here the log, so it's HTTPS, but you do not see entity one. It's no name here. If you go to bank website or wherever, you see it's signed for KBC or for Pelvius or whatever. This is done with Let's Encrypt, so it's HTTPS, it's secure, the browser accepts it. We didn't get that typical warning if you have nothing, if you have no, like this. We didn't get that on the website, so Let's Encrypt is recognized by the browsers. It doesn't give a weird and scary warning. Oops. Here. Last thought, YouTube is not a search engine in the classical sense of the word. So in the most rankings you won't see YouTube pop up as piece of a market share of search engines, but it is the second most used platform to search. YouTube is a very important, and in Belgium a lot of times ignored, platform in your SEO, in getting traffic to your website. It's used incredibly much, so it's very interesting to have YouTube videos on YouTube, of course, and then in the description you put a link to your website, or you put these banners on the video itself to link to your website and drive traffic to your website. This is not really Drupal related, but I really want to edit it because it's largely ignored in most Belgian websites. This is largely ignored. Any questions?
Just in case you would like to add a custom meta tag, let's say for Open Graph, you have a number of, if you go to the Facebook Open Graph reference documentation, for a restaurant you have to add specific meta tags, which are not previewed in the meta tag module. What is your suggestion to add in the head of a node a custom meta tag only for Open Graph, for instance?
I would use the following module, Drupal meta tag quick. What is this? The meta tag quick module also has a Drupal 8 version. You add a field, just like you would, it adds a field type, just like you have, for example, the telephone number field type. You add that just like any regular field to your page, to your node. You can set the properties, what type it is, what description, what content it has. So you can say it must be of type meta, and the name must be whatever you wish it to be, and then you can add per page content to
Is
it.
there a conflict with meta tag quick and meta tag?
No, not that I have experienced.
Okay,
Disclaimer.
thank you very much.
Any other questions?
If you use a canonical URL, is it recommended to just use the node/x part?
Yes, that's fine. Yeah, it's a best practice even, because it's an easy one and you're sure it will always work. Yeah, so node/node ID for the canonical URL, Google will not punish you on that. It's also often used as the short link URL. It's not used that often anymore because all platforms use their own shortener now, but you can still use it if you want. Any other questions?
As far as metadata goes in the open graphs, for Google results, to me it's more clear, but I'm not sure what the Facebook and Twitter metadata does exactly. Does it help your Google results, or is it indexed by Facebook?
No, well, for example, when you share a page on Facebook, so I have the entity one, so for example I go to a blog post, I'm not logged in, I'm going to have to switch, exit guest, oops, there's what the financials of Drupal Camp Kent, we will cut that out of the video, right?
Of course.
Now if you click here, it's the HTTPS bug, but if you click the share button, or if you share a page with any of these tools, it will scrape an image from your website and a description, and Facebook will prefer the OG tags, the Open Graph tags. Google doesn't really care about OG.
So it's just to facilitate sharing on Facebook and Twitter?
Open Graph is mainly used by Facebook and Pinterest. Twitter cards is of course used by Twitter. Any other questions?
What's the best way when you have one site with multiple main domains and the site has subsections with the other domains? What's the best way to do that? Multiple main domains.
Yeah, that's a problem. Unless these top-level domains are from different countries, for example .be or .nl, no, then you will be punished. That's double content in the eyes of Google, and you will be punished by the indexing. It does allow multiple languages or multiple countries, for example Belgium and Netherlands, both Dutch, so you can have identical content without being punished. But you have two .com domains, for example, with identical content, you will be punished.
But there's no identical content.
There's no identical content.
No. Every subsection
Yeah.
has its main domain, but there's one like a big company with 5 offices in 5 countries, but it's in different countries, it's 5 departments. But they all have their own specific URL.
Yeah, so the title or the description needs to be different based on the domain, but not based on the content type, for example. Is that question? Yes. I don't know. I haven't done that. No, I don't have an answer. I'm sorry. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much.